With that, Mr. LaHood, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ambassador Tai, good to see you again. Welcome back. Ambassador Tai, I'm the co-chair with Congresswoman Del Bene of the Digital Trade Caucus. And many of us on this side of the aisle have been exceedingly frustrated with the administration's inability to promote a coherent trade agenda. And when we think about digital trade, obviously there's growing concern with the Communist Chinese parties, global economic influence, and their promotion of digital trade policies that run counter to American ideals. These Chinese policies promote censorship and surveillance. They encourage human rights abuses, and they force unwanted technology transfers through initiatives like the Digital Silk Road. Rather than providing a free market alternative to the CCP's digital governance model, this administration sends mixed messages on the global stage by walking back long-held bipartisan digital trade proposals outlined at the World Trade Organization without clearly articulating a policy path forward. Last November, Congresswoman Del Bene and I led a bipartisan letter along with 36 House colleagues to you, underscoring how your decision threatens Americans' leadership and ultimately harms American businesses and workers. This decision, as we mentioned, was made without any sufficient congressional input. So when I mentioned frustration, Ambassador Tai, we continue to have concerns and frustration with this decision and the successive abandonment of digital trade in IPEF, or to understand what the policy position of the administration is moving forward. Can you tell us, as it relates to the letter and the current position of the administration, Ambassador Tai, and the decision to abandon digital trade, what are the plans for being briefed here in Congress on the plans moving forward?
Mr. LaHood, thank you for raising the issue of digital. I've been looking for an opportunity to address the entire committee on this particular issue because it has generated a lot of heat. Let me begin by saying that it is precisely because of Congress that we are adjusting our approach and policies on what we call digital trade. It is because we see what you are doing up here with respect to addressing the risks and harms that can come from PRC technology policies and how they impact the rights and the interests of Americans and, for example, their data. We have paid attention to the fact that bills have advanced through the House and have passed with respect to TikTok and the concerns around onward transfers of Americans' data to China and access to the PRC government, as well as more recently the data brokers bill that we saw passed on a 414-0 basis. These concerns around the security of Americans' data and where it ends up in the global technological economic ecosystem is what is animating our approaches to digital trade. The digital trade provisions that you've referenced go to data flows, data localization, and source code as well. They were developed as part of a trade policy that's really rooted in our recognition and our understanding 20 years ago that data is just about facilitating traditional trade transactions. What we have discovered today, and I think you probably know better than many, being the head of the Digital Trade Caucus, today, data is not just something that facilitates traditional trade. Data is the commodity and the thing that has value in and of itself. Data is what is fueling technological advancements, who has access to that data, who can accumulate it, and then fundamentally here in the US Congress, the debates around what is the relationship between Americans and their data? What kind of rights do they have? What kind of rights to security do they have? And it's precisely because of this evolution in understanding what is at stake that we have indicated that these trade policies that treat data in a very straightforward way, in an outdated way, have to be updated to reflect the much, much more complex issues related to Americans' privacy rights, their intellectual property rights, and also their security and our collective national security.
Well, I appreciate that, Ambassador Tai, and I would appreciate more input from the administration in working with the Digital Trade Caucus. I want to pivot just for a second here. article from Bloomberg related to, this is the title from April 10th, 2024, Brazil rebuffs U.S. pressure to abandon tariffs on ethanol imports. Can you comment on the current negotiations with Brazil? It's immensely frustrating for our ethanol producers in this country, the current situation with Brazil, and what action is the administration going to take?
Mr. LaHood, I know how much this matters to you and your constituents. This is an issue where we are entirely on the same page. We continue to engage with Brazil. As recently as a couple weeks ago, my chief agri-negotiator had a meeting with their agriculture ministry. We continue to work this issue, and I have been given assurance by my counterparts in Brasilia that they understand how important this issue is to us. We are working to find ways to relieve the tensions in this part of our relationship.
Thank you.